Hello everyone, I welcome you all to Interview with Inspiration, an initiative by Skills Rediscovery. Skills Rediscovery is an e-learning platform and it is becoming the fastest growing destination for learners. I am Nihi Jain, working as a project relation officer at Skills Rediscovery. Today we have with us here Dr. Lily Bhushan. She is currently serving as principal at KES Shroff College. Ma'am, can we know more about your journey since the beginning of your career and more about you so that our viewers could really draw inspiration from your journey?
Okay, thank you for giving me an opportunity to be with you today. My journey in this Shroff College began in 1991, and we've had a very humble beginning. Not a very well-known college. It was in 1991, and from 1991 to 2021, it's been a long journey, full of challenges. And of course, we were very successful in meeting those challenges. And today, I must say with pride that we have carved a niche for ourselves in the western suburbs of Mumbai. And we've emerged as a model college in University of Mumbai, bagging the Best College Award in 2018 from University of Mumbai. Of course, the journey has been very challenging because the students in our college way back in 1991 were mostly first generation learners, I would say. They were basically, ours is a Gujarati linguistic minority college, and communication skills and all were very weak. But slowly and steadily, definitely, we have marched ahead. From 1991 till 2009, I was a professor there, and 2009, I took up as the principal, and so I'm there today. And when I joined the college, when I became the principal in 2009, the number of students was just 2,200, and today we are 9,000 plus. So that speaks about the journey of our institution and my contribution. Of course, it's a teamwork always. One single person cannot take the credit alone. But yes, it has been a very challenging journey, no doubt about it. But having a good team of teachers and non-teaching staff and a very cooperative, very proactive management. I've been lucky to have such a management, and that is why I think we could scale such good heights.
Okay. Since we're talking about your journey, could you tell us what were the challenges you faced in withstanding the complexities of your industry, ma'am?
Yeah, see, basically, as I told you, linguistic minority students, communication skills were very weak, and people were coming from economically deprived background, and teaching such kind of students was definitely a big challenge. Infrastructure was weak, but slowly and steadily with self-financing courses coming on, money was an issue in the college. Having a good state-of-the-art infrastructure was a challenge, and bringing in the wave of computerization, all these things were, see, you need money for development. And that time, we are a grant in aid college. We were getting funds from the government, and you know how government works. So around 2005, I would say, there was a turnaround, and we got a donor. And earlier we were KES college, and now we are KES Shroff because the Shroff family gave us some donation. And from there, that was the point of inflection, I would say. And from there we picked up. And today I can proudly say that we have a state-of-the-art infrastructure and all the facilities under one roof. I mean, you must visit KES Shroff College. You should see the KES Shroff College website, and you will come to know what we are like.
Definitely, ma'am. Ma'am, what does your institute provide? What courses it provides, and how does it stand different from other colleges?
Yeah, see, basically we are a commerce dominated college, but we also have arts, and we also have information technology, and predominantly it's a commerce and finance college. We are offering 15 undergraduate courses, 10 postgraduate courses, and 2 we have PhD centers, one in commerce and one in business economics.
Okay. Does it provide add-on courses?
Yeah, we have 45 value-added courses, 45 value-added courses. And we have courses like CFA, we have courses like akka, So, we have adopted a cafeteria approach, and a lot of things we are offering. We have courses on film and television production, also mass media. We have arts, humanities too.
That's a great thing. Ma'am, can I know how are these add-on courses how are the students in add-on courses trained? It's a blended thing or more like a practical approach to it?
I would say both blended as well as practical approach. See, nowadays, ours is a autonomous college. We have got autonomous status. I think this is the second year of getting autonomous status. And in autonomous, you have to earn credits. So to enable students to earn credits, we have introduced these 44 or 45 courses. And because of this, I think a lot of value addition is there, skill development is there. And I think because of the credit to be earned, because 132 credits student has to earn over a period of 3 years. And as per UGC rules, they have in the normal academic curricula, they can earn 120. So the 12 extra credits they need to be fetching. And to enable them to earn those 12 extra credits, we have introduced these courses, these add-on courses, which definitely, adds on to their skill.
Yes, definitely. As we're talking about industry and profession, can we know more about the current scenario of your industry? You said your earlier, since you started your journey, you were a professor. So more about that. What is the current scenario in your industry or in your profession?
A lot of changes have taken place, and earlier there was more, it was a more focusing on getting positions, getting marks. I think gone are the days now. The focus is not on getting marks. The focus has to be on skill development and adding on, as again and again, I think we are repeating, it's basically a development of skills, because today you cannot just, you may get degree, you may be a topper, but then is the industry ready to take you? So for industry to take you, you should show some skills, and especially industry related skills. So we need to do a need assessment study what the industry wants. Like nowadays, BFSI sector is high on the employment scene. So we need to train our students to develop skills which are welcomed by the BFSI industry. Similarly, we have information technology department, and especially during this COVID era, I think technology has taken upper seat. And so technology is now very important, and even the student, forget about the students are more tech savvy. The teachers need to hone their technology skills, and that has been a big challenge nowadays in front of the teachers. So these are the changes which are required, and skill development, having creativity, communication skills, collaborative skills, group dynamics. These are the things very important which we need to inculcate among students. Otherwise, industry is not going to accept them.
Ma'am, now the NDA government came up with new education policy. So what is your take onto it?
On paper, it seems to be a very ambitious policy, no doubt. It has a lot of brownie points. We need to see that the students are brought back into the teaching stream, for they are the dropouts and they have to join back. And nowadays we have the slicing system in education. Like, you need not have the 4-year continuous course. You can take 1 year of education and then go out and then come back. So if you do for 1 year, it will maybe a certificate course. If you take a 2 years course, you can have a diploma, then you can have an advanced diploma, and then you can finally end up with a graduation degree. So that is one thing which is good. Students who cannot continue education, they can take their education, they can get their degree in, I won't say bits and pieces, but we say a slicing approach. That is one good thing about the industry and the new education policy. But then we also need, if we want the entire young population to really go into the college system, then you also need a good pool of trained teachers who are able to live up to the expectations of the industry and expectations of the students. That is also a very big challenge. And this COVID era has shown us that technology is supreme. You have to be really tech savvy. Without technology, you are nowhere. I mean, it will be like perform or perish kind of a thing, and the survival of a fittest. So these are the challenges which have been thrown up in the current COVID scenario with the new education policy. And we need to really work on it if we want to be successful teachers and learners both.
Yes, ma'am. While you were talking about COVID, you also mentioned the lessons like we have to be tech savvy. So can I know what particular lessons you think should be drawn from this COVID situation? Or what education fraternity should draw lessons from this COVID situation?
Education, they need to upskill themselves. They need to undergo training, e-content development, how to deliver the learning management systems have to be adopted, incorporated in our teaching systems. And basically teaching IT infrastructure needs to improve in colleges, which again calls for a lot of expenditure. It's not an easy thing. And teachers need to train to train themselves. Students should get used to, of course, students I think are far ahead of the teachers today so far as technology is concerned. So they outsmart the teachers nowadays. So teachers really have to come up with technology. There is no, there's no excuse for that.
Okay. Moving on with this COVID situation, question, students are really facing employability challenge in this times when compared to the other times. So
right.
May we have your suggestion on the same topic, on the same question, ma'am? What is your suggestion or advice to the students?
For looking up for a career during COVID times, right?
Yes, ma'am. And also the employability challenges.
So I would like to tell the students now there are certain areas or certain fields where employment opportunities are coming up, like healthcare is very important nowadays, and students should look for an opportunities in the healthcare sector, especially those students involved in NCC, NSS. The bright opportunity to join NGOs. See, they should look, and they can have a beginning in these organizations. You can look for NGOs, people who are working in the community development, social development, elderly care, healthcare systems. Even in delivery boys nowadays very much in demand. They should not think that, oh, we are graduates, why should we end up as delivery boys? There is the concept of dignity of labor, and nothing stops you from taking up such jobs. And then to begin with, and then you can scale up and upskill yourself and look for better quality jobs and all. But sitting idle at home is not advisable. I would say, however possible, whatever possible, students should, even in these adverse circumstances, people should come out, look for opportunities. And let me tell you, there are opportunities. So many, for example, so many COVID care centers are being opened, and there are 1,500, 2,000 beds are being laid down. Where is the human resource to handle those beds, those patients? Not necessarily doctors, but you need paramedics, you need others also, you need security guards, you need people sitting at the reception, people relating the patient to the families. You need a human resource to do all those connections. So there are jobs available if students are willing to come out. And I've seen in my college, it is the NCC and the NSS volunteers who have come up and have taken up certain jobs in NGOs, etc. And they are earning their living. They are paying their fees from that amount. So, I mean, where there is a will, there is a way. One has to be on a lookout and take the best of the opportunity provided by the economic, the social, the political circumstances, I would say.
It's some great advice to look on to. Definitely. And ma'am, we'll wrap this interview with the last question. And the question is, how do you think, or what is your view on the blended system? Do we have a blended system? Is education completely blended with skill, or we are very far now in reaching towards that goal?
By blended system, you mean online and offline? That is what we in the teaching industry believe in. Blended means offline and online both. Do you mean the same?
No. I mean, education system is more theoretical rather than practical.
Okay. Yeah, I got it. So you're talking about academy and industrial linkage.
Yes.
So that is what I said earlier, that we need to have a need assessment, what the industry wants. The connect with the industry should be there. And education has to be, again, coming back to the same factor, skill oriented, what is required, what industry expects from you. And there has to be a blended model between the academia and the industry. So the industry should come to the academics. Academia should look up to the industry. They should collaborate, and they should tell us, like, designing the curriculum has to be like, for example, ours is an autonomous college and we have the freedom to design our own curriculum. So in every subject, we have a representative of the industry to guide us as to what is required and what is required in future. So accordingly, we frame our syllabus. So designing the curriculum, designing the syllabus is also very important nowadays. And I think that is what you mean by blended learning systems, right?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah.
Just out of curiosity, do you think new education policy will be able to fill this gap that we currently have?
Somewhat, I would say. It's a very diplomatic answer I am giving, because we are yet to see how it shapes up the new education policy. I mean, time only can tell, I would say. But of course, the policy is well defined and it's in the right direction, I would say. But as I earlier said, execution, implementation is something very important. It's a very ambitious, it has a multidisciplinary approach, and how students take it, and the role of parent also is equally important there in the new education policy. So it is not only student-teacher relationship, but also the relationship with the parent, which also is going to decide how the student is going to take the challenges of the new education policy. It's a very holistic, the teacher, student, parent, industry, administrators, all have to be linked together to see the outcome of the new education policy. But definitely it is a welcome step, I would say.
Okay.
It needs to be executed and implemented in a proper manner.
Okay. Ma'am, any ending note that you would like to give to our viewers? Any suggestion?
To the students, I would say, again, coming back, see, they have to be communicative, they have to be collaborative, they have to be creative, they had to have critical thinking skills, analytical skills, keep their eyes and ears open always what is happening, and the quality of adapting to the changing environment has to be there. I mean, you cannot be complacent about your skills, your abilities. As time changes, student also needs to change, and then only you can survive and coexist happily.
Yes, definitely. Thank you so much for such a beautiful note, and thank you for your time. Thank you for sharing your insights here with us today, ma'am. Yeah, really.
Thank you for giving me an opportunity to be with you all. Thank you so much.
It is really a great pleasure for us to have you today here with us.